We're going to do the last bit of Act 4, and then we'll be moving on to Act 5 next week, and then we'll be done with Macbeth. So, a room in the palace of Edward I, the Confessor of England, enter Malcolm and Macduff. Now, remember, Malcolm is one of King Duncan's children. Let us seek out some desolate shade, and there weep our sad bosoms empty. Macduff, let us rather hold fast the mortal sword, and like good men, bestride our own downfall and birthdom. Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds as if it fell to Scotland and yelled out like a syllable of dolour. Malcolm, what I believe I'll wail, what no believe, and what I can redress, as I shall find the time to friend, I will. What you have spoke, it may be so, perchance, this tyrant, whose sole name blisters our tongues, was once thought honest. You have loved him well. He hath not touched you yet. I am young, but something you may deserve of him through me and wisdom, to offer up a weak, poor, innocent lamb to appease an angry God. Macduff, I am not treacherous. So they're talking about Macbeth and saying how he used to be honest, but obviously they suspect him of foul play, and that's what they're discussing. Malcolm, but Macbeth is. A good and virtuous nature may recoil in an imperial change, but I shall crave your pardon, that which you are my thoughts cannot transpose. Angels are bright still, though the brightest foul. Though all things foul would wear the brose of grace, yet grace must look so. Macduff, I have lost my hopes. Malcolm, perchance even there where I did find my doubts, why in that rawness left you wife and child, those precious motives, those strong knots of love, without leave taking? I pray you, let not my jealousies be your dishonours, but my own safeties. You may be rightly just, whatever I shall think. Macduff, bleed, bleed, poor country, great tyranny, they though thy base is sure, for goodness dare not check thee, where though thy wrongs, the title is afeard. Fare thee well, Lord. I would not be the villain that thou thinkest, for the whole space that's in the tyrant's grasp, and the rich east to boot. Okay, so Malcolm's asking Macduff why he's left his family, and Macduff is basically saying to him, do not think I'm a bad man, I'm not. Malcolm, be not offended. I speak not as in absolute fear of you. I think our country sinks beneath the yoke. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day a gash is added to her wounds. I think withal there would be hands uplifted in my right, and here from gracious England I have offer of God of goodly thousands. But for all this, when I shall tread upon the tyrant's head, or wear it on my sword, yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before, more suffer, and more sundry ways than ever, by him that shall succeed. What should he be? It is myself, I mean, in whom I know all the particulars of vice so grafted, that when they shall be opened, black Macbeth will seem as pure as snow, and the poor states esteem him as a lamb, being compared with my confineless harms. Macduff, not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned in evils to top Macbeth. Malcolm, I grant him bloody, luxurious, avaricious, false, deceitful, sudden, malicious, smacking of every sin that has a name, but there's no bottom, none, in my voluptuousness. Your wives, your daughters, your matrons, and your maids could not fill up the cistern of my lust and my desire. All continent impendence would overbear that did oppose my will. Better Macbeth's, that such a one to reign. Macduff, boundless intemperance, in nature is a tyranny. It hath been the ultimately emptying of the happy throne, and fall of many kings. But fear not yet to take upon you what is yours. You may convey your pleasures in a spacious plenty, and yet seem cold. The time you may so hoodwink. We have willing dames enough. There cannot be that vulture in you to devour so many as will to greatness dedicate themselves, finding it so inclined. Malcolm. With this there grows in my most ill-composed affection such a stauntless avarice that, I were king, I should cut off the nobles for their lands, desire his jewels that is others' house, and to my more having would be as a source to make me hunger more, that I should forge quarrels unjust against the good and loyal, destroying them for wealth. So Malcolm is saying, if he were king, like a bad king, he would literally just take on a fight with good people and whatever just for wealth and status. Macduff. This avarice sticks deeper, grows with more pernicious roots than a summer seeming lust, and it hath been the sword of our slain kings. Yet do not fear, Scotland hath foisons to fill up your will, of your mere own. All these were portable, with other graces weighed. Malcolm, but I have none. The king becoming graces, and justly, verity, temperance, stableness, bounty, perseverance, mercy, loneliness, devotion, patience, courage, fortitude, I have no relish of them, but abound. In the division of each several crime, acting in many ways. Nay, had I power, I should pour the sweet milk of concord into hell, uproar the universe peace, confound all unity o' earth. O Scotland, Scotland, if such a one be fit to govern, speak, as I have spoken. Okay. It's very clear here that Malcolm is not happy with Macbeth and actually wants to fight him. And now Macduff is basically going to talk to him about that. Fit to govern? No, not to live. O nation miserable, with an untitled tyrant, bloody scapegoat, when shalt thou see thy wholesome days again? Since that the trust of thy throne by his own interdiction stands accused, and dost blaspheme his breed, the royal father, with a most sainted king, that the queen that bore thee, oftener upon thyself, hath banished me from Scotland. O my breast, thy hope ends here. Macduff, his noble passion, child of integrity, hath from my soul wiped the black scruples, reconciled my thoughts to thy good truth and honour. Devilish Macbeth, by many of these trains, hath sought to win me into his power, and modest wisdom plucks me from over-credulous taste. But God above, deal between thee and me, for even now I put myself to thy direction, and unspeak my own detraction. Here abjure the taints and blames I laid upon myself, for strangers to my nature. I am yet unknown to woman, never was forsworn, scarcely have coveted what was mine own, at no time broke my faith, would not betray the devil to his fellow and delight. Okay, so Macduff is basically saying he's an honest man. No less in truth than life, my first false speaking was this upon myself. What am I truly is thine, and my poor country's to command, whither indeed before thy here approach, old Seward, with 10,000 warlike men, already at a point, was setting forth. Now we all together, and the chance of goodness be like our warranted quarrel. Why are you silent? Macduff, such welcome and unwelcome things at once. 'Tis hard to reconcile. A doctor comes from the palace. Well, more anon. Comes the king forth, I pray you. Doctor, I, sir, they are a crew of wretched souls that stay his cure. Their malady convinces the great estray of art, but at his touch, such sanctity hath heaven given his hand, they presently amend. Malcolm, I thank you, doctor. Off. Macduff, what's this disease he means? Malcolm, 'tis called evil. The most miraculous work in his good king, which often, since my hero remained in England, I have seen him do, how he solaced heaven himself best knows, but strangely visited people, all swollen, usurious, pitiful to the eye, the mere despair of surgery, he cures, hanging a golden lamp about their necks, put on with holy prayers, and 'tis spoken to the succeeding royalty, he leaves the healing benediction. With his strange virtue, he hath heavenly gift of prophecy, and sundry blessings hang about his throne, that speak him full of grace. Ross approaches. Macduff, see who comes here. Malcolm, my countryman, but yet I know him not. Macduff, my ever-gentle cousin, welcome hither. Malcolm, I know him now. Good God, betimes remove the means that make us strangers. Ross, sir, amen. Macduff, stand Scotland where it did. Okay, so you ask, stand Scotland where it did. So is everything in Scotland still fine, or has anything happened? Ross, alas, poor country, almost afraid to know it itself. It cannot be called our mother, but our grave, where nothing, but who knows nothing, is once seen to smell, where sighs and groans and shrieks that rend the air are made not marked, where violent sorrow seems a modern ecstasy. The dead man's kneel is there scarce asked for who, and good men's lives expire before the flowers in their caps, dying or ere they sicken. Macduff, oh relation, too nice and yet too true. Malcolm, what's the newest grief? So he's asking, what's the bad news? Ross, he's obviously struggling to say it because now we know Macduff's family has been murdered. That of an hour's age doth hiss the speaker. Each minute seems a new one. Macduff, how does my wife? Ross, why, well. And my children, well too. The tyrant has not battered at their peace. No, they were well at peace when I did leave them. So he's saying they were fine, and then I left. Macduff, not a of your speech, how goes it? Okay, that's I'm not going to say. Tell me what's happening. So, Ross, when I came hither to transport the tidings, which I have heavily borne, there ran a rumour of many worthy fellows that were out, which was to my belief witnessed the rather. For that I saw the tyrant's power afoot. Now's the time of help. Your eye in Scotland would create soldiers, make our women fight to doff their dire distresses. So he knows it's true because he saw the soldiers, and they need to turn people against Macbeth. Okay, Malcolm, be it their comfort. We are coming hither. Gracious England hath lent us good sword and 10,000 men, and older and better soldier none, that Christendom gives out. So they're saying we are going to declare war on Scotland or fight because England has given us soldiers. Ross, would I could answer, this comfort me with the like, but I have words that would be howled out in the desert when hearing should not latch them. Okay, Macduff, what concern they? The general cause, or is it a free grief due to some single breast? Ross, no mind that's honest, but in it shares some woe, though the main part pertains to you alone. Macduff, if it be mine, keep it not from me. Quickly let me have it. So he's saying, is there any bad news? Is it like, for everyone else it's personal, so he's saying it's personal news. So then Macduff says, please tell me. Ross, let your ears not despise my tongue forever, which shall possess them with the heaviest sound that ever yet they heard. So I hope you don't hate me for the news that I'm telling you. Macduff, I guess at it. Your castle is surprised. Your wife and babes savagely slaughtered. To relate the manner were on the quarry of these murdered deer, to add the death of you. Malcolm, merciful heaven, what man, never pull your hat upon your brows, give sorrow words, the grief that does not speak, whispers over fought hearts and bids it break. Macduff, my children too. Ross, wife, children, servants, all that could be found. Macduff, and I must be from thence. My wife killed too. Ross, I have said. Malcolm, be comforted. Let us take medicines of our great revenge to cure this deadly grief. So he's saying, look, it's sad, but take comfort in the fact that we are going to get our revenge by declaring a fight with Macbeth. Macduff, he has no children. All my pretty ones, did you say all? Hell kites, all what? All my pretty chickens and their dam at one fell swoop. Malcolm, disputed like a man. Macduff, I shall do so, but I must feel it as a man. I cannot but remember such things were that the most precious to me did heaven look on, and would not take their part. Sin for Macduff. They were all struck for thee, naught that I am, not for their own demerits, but for mine. Foul slaughter on their souls. Heaven rest him now. So you're saying this happened because of him, not because of them. Malcolm, be this the whetstone of your sword. Let grief convert to anger. Blunt not the heart, enrage it. So he's saying don't let grief close you down and make you weak in a way, but let it fuel the fire so that you can take revenge on Macbeth. Oh, I could play the woman with mine eyes and brag out with my tongue, but gentle heavens, cut short with intermission, front to front, bring though this find of Scotland and myself, within my sword's length set him, if he escape, heaven forgive him too. Malcolm, this tune goes manly. Come, we go to the king, our power is ready, our lack is nothing but our leave. Macbeth is ripe for shaking, and the powers above put on their instruments. Receive what cheer you may. The night is long that never finds the day off. So they're saying, okay, we'll get ready because we're going to have our war. And that is the end of Act 4. And we'll have Act 5 in the next video or 2 videos. Thank you.